Perfect. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and I am Shashi, your host on Women Dialogues. And I'm here to create voice by women for women. And in today's episode, we are here with someone very special who has created a unique way of traveling with me, myself, and I kind of platform. And we will know more about her work as a CEO, as a founder, and all about her journey by her, Miss Yogita. Uh, Welcome, Miss Yogita, on this platform. And you are joining us from Australia. So thank you for giving us time on this platform. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I am so humbled to be invited for this interview. I'm looking forward to sharing my story, and I am excited to, to see where this platform goes, because I love what you do, Voice for Women, because we women do need to encourage each other and support each other and share our journeys and our stories and our challenges as we grow. And so I'm super excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be having you here. And definitely, we would love to see how about the way you are today, a successful woman, having your own company, your work, your business, you travel around the world. So let's start knowing about your early childhood, how it goes on, and what was all about.
Sure, absolutely. So I am Indian. Even though I'm not born in India, I have got a beautiful family, 5 siblings. I'm the eldest. My mom and dad both retired now, but school teachers. And we grew up in a humble, average family, working family, so to speak. And we valued family, love, support, relationship as the biggest thing in it's a very much Indian thing too. Family comes first. And I actually really loved that I had that experience, because growing up in New Zealand and then now I live in Australia, people chase after money, they chase after fame, they chase after success, so to speak. And family really doesn't come on the top 3. So I love the fact that family has been my core of the whole being, because that's the reason why I my business. My 2 daughters, to inspire them, they are my biggest work. So to speak, if I can leave the next generation a legacy of how women should inspire women, how mothers should be the role model for their children, whether they are male or female, because now we are it. We have to make sure that how we raise them, the values we give them, and the principles we impart and so forth is the key to everything we do. And I think somewhere this link got broken as generation changed. A lot more technology came in place, a lot more luxury came in place, a lot more demand, entitlement came in place. So to answer your question, my childhood, I have had a beautiful childhood, and I absolutely would not trade it for anything. My parents are still my role model, and I love them to bits. And they're always there for me, whether I'm right or wrong, whether what I did was good or bad, they always got my back. So that's what I want to create for my children as well. And that's up to the age of, say, 6. And then I went through the school system, which I didn't really enjoy that much. The biggest reason for that is I'm dyslexic, so I really struggled in the school system. Being dyslexic, it is something that I did not have much guts to own up to when I was younger, or even not so long ago, because it is something that is very personal. It is something that I felt super ashamed of and embarrassed that I am dyslexic. And one of those things that you don't want to be judged by people. You want to be loved by people instead of people laughing at you and making joke at your expense, and you get bullied because they call you things like dumb, stupid, idiot, because what dyslexic literally means is our brain is wired differently, so we process information a lot slower. So our reading, our writing, and spelling, especially spelling, if you're extreme version of dyslexic, is a big challenge. And my spelling is just appalling. I even laugh at it myself. It is so bad. Like I have to relook at word like 10 million times, and I will still get it wrong because I will have the letters in the wrong places. And because of that, school was hard for me, was a big struggle. But at the same time, I pushed through to a point where I became really stubborn. Like I had this fire in my belly. I had not really understood what it was at the time, but now I know what it was and what it is. So that was my childhood. I hope I answered your question.
No, that's perfectly. That makes sense. Like the way you are bringing up about your childhood, the way you had your challenges, and like now you are today very successful women. But when you're bringing a lot of point like about your family values, about the support you got from your parents, which is exceptional, and I totally agree that cannot be traded with any other thing. Whereas when I'm listening about your education, early childhood education related challenges, why I just would like to, create more awareness in our audience and in our viewers. If you can share a bit more about, because many of still they know, but how one can get that support which is required by family, by parents, as you mentioned that they were always with you. So having maybe such kind of, or maybe bit of or more or less such kind of challenges, how one can become successful like you, or maybe more or less, but how one can get that support, or how the family people can create that kind of environment.
Yeah, that's a very good question, because at the end of the day, when you are going through challenges, doesn't matter what it is. It can be, neurodiversity, which is a very common thing nowadays, like dyslexia, spectrum of autism, and so forth. There is a lot under that umbrella. It is an invisible challenge. Whereas if you have physical disability, you might have it is visible, you can see it. You have an arm missing, people see it. You have a leg missing, people see it. So the difference between the two is when people can see it, they empathize with you, they support you, they're aware of it. But when it's invisible disability, or I don't like the word disability, because the challenge, you're not able to do things, you are challenged in different ways. So which means you just learn differently. You just learn different ways of doing things, and you manage what is your weakness. So basically, from the family point of view, this is my biggest teaching. Like I teach this intensively with all my work, is how to give support to people who are going through challenges. And the very, very big thing is to actually be aware of what is really happening in your child's life. If your child is not good at reading, writing, or spelling, or anything for that matter, don't judge them, because not everyone is supposed to be good at everything. So the school system is so wrong in so many ways, because it trains us all to be the same. And we're not born the same. No one is born the same. We don't look the same. We don't walk the same. We don't talk the same. We all are very different in our ways. And the school system, the exams they do, they make you I remember reading this article about school system. This is when I was younger. And this was one of the very first times that I read this article. It was giving an insight on, how not to be so hard on yourself. It was teaching, they had a whole lot of animals
Yes.
standing around a tree, including like a fish, right? An elephant, a giraffe, and a monkey. And the test was who will climb the tree fastest. And when you really think about it, the monkey will go the fastest. The fish will never climb the tree. It's just not meant to do that.
Right.
And that's how we humans are. We are wired differently. We're all different. We have different abilities, and we should not be tested the same to see what our intelligence levels are. And the most weird and wild thing is, and if your child is one of those people who is struggling at school, know this, there is a very high chance, like a big possibility, that they have a very high IQ. Like I was tested for dyslexia at the same time I was tested for my IQ. I have a very high IQ, and yet I can't spell. So here's the basic bottom line: don't judge the book by its cover. Not everybody has to be the same, and not everybody is good at everything. So support your child for who he or she is, exactly the way they are. Same goes for, like, family members, adults, colleagues, workmates. We have to embrace the uniqueness in us, the authenticity in us, and that's what makes the world so beautiful, because we are all so different. And difference complement each other, and challenge each other and teach each other. If we all were exactly the same, how boring will that be?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
That's
That's so true, and the way you bring those, awareness, and the way you connected our audience and to us, uh, having family and having them the understanding of, what the way they should look to their child without judging is so important and crucial. And I think each parent, even whether it's me or you or everyone, whoever is listening and watching, they have to have that understanding that each one is unique to create this beautiful uniqueness around us. So when we are talking about it, you are uniquely doing something very unique work about traveling with me. And I love to hearing about what is all about. Kindly tell us a bit more about your this work, and you are as a CEO and founder of this work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So my struggles of, being dyslexic left me with very low self-esteem, which literally means, like, you don't believe in yourself. The world has told you again and again and again that you're stupid, you're dumb, you're useless, you can't do nothing right. So that becomes your self-talk. It's like a broken record that plays again and again in your head. And the more it played in my head, the more I became accustomed to that, and not having any self-confidence, not having any self-esteem. I very, very much wore these different masks. And these masks that I wore, I constantly hid behind them to pretend that I fit in. And I really wanted to fit in. I really wanted to be like everybody else. And I became quite good at it, because, like they said, when you are really, really stubborn about something, you achieve it. But sometimes you have to be very careful what you're stubborn about. Like, what is it that your dream is? Is it really your dream, or is it the dream that people have, put upon you? Like my dream, the very first dream, was the society has put upon me. You become successful by getting a good job, getting married, having a family, buying a big house and nice cars. And that's the definition of you being successful. And I did all that. I started my career in corporate. I became very good at that. Then from New Zealand, we moved to Australia, and I bought a hotel business in Australia, in a beautiful part of Australia, Sunshine Coast, which is right on the beach. And it was very successful. And I married, I had 2 kids, and, I lived in a nice house and drove a nice car. But all of those things, as much as it defined success from outside, from inside, I felt very empty. It felt really like something's still missing. Something's not right. And couldn't really put my finger on what was it that was missing, what was it that was wrong. And I started to feel, when you become a mom, you start seeing things a little bit differently, because your children, when you look at them, they do things like you do. They mimic you. It's almost like a monkey. You put one hand up, they do the same. You do this and they'll do the same. So that's almost, the children do exactly the same thing.
So true,
And that was like my mirror. It was like I was looking into a mirror, and both of my daughters were starting to have that same reflection back, that they didn't believe in themselves. They were starting to struggle with low self-esteem, and they had no reason to. I was the only reason they were doing that, because they were learning from me. In the big picture, they are both beautiful, very intelligent girls, and I was not helping them by being the wrong role model. So I needed to change the way I was. I needed to be the role model that they deserved and they needed. So I took on this big, huge, it was almost like something else was kind of guiding you. You just like get driven by something. Like, I couldn't really put a finger on why I did it, but I took on this tour, a solo tour from Brisbane to London, all by myself, without much preparation and notice. I just went. And that was like the start of my business, because what it did, at first, it inspired me and changed me to be a different person. And then it gave me an insight on what personal development can do for a person. I actually called my whole journey as, solo travel to self-discovery. And I was like, every time I say to people say to me, how did you find your business? Like, how did you come up with the idea? And it's a good question, but I didn't. The business found me. Like, I came with this whole concept after it found me. The concept found me. And then I realized how powerful this is and how it can help so many other women, especially mothers. This is not about women who are single to go travel. Yes, they can do that as well. They can join my group and come with different tours. But this is more for mothers who want to be the best version of themselves, so they can be the best role model for their children. This is for women who are married and have got family, because we don't allow ourselves time and space that is just for us. And that time and space that is just for us actually helps us to have a clear picture, more focus, more clarity on what we want from life and how our life is actually going. Because when you're in it all day long, going as in a roller coaster ride, you are so, like most women, I know many women who are so hardworking that we keep pushing through all the challenges, and then we get up again next day and do it all over again. But we have to give ourselves time out sometimes. And this is where my business came to life, from me struggling to me finding, how to look at my life and revisit the whole dream that I thought was mine to what my real purpose is, and how I'm going to change that, and how now I'm going to help other people. So I did write a book about this as well, Finding Me, Myself and I. So the Finding Me, Myself and I, the book actually talks about my whole journey, which is really exciting, because every woman that has read it have said that they can see parts of themselves in the book, which is quite exciting. So that's how my business came about, and now I love it, because every time a woman comes on a tour with me or a retreat with me, they go, like, this is the best thing they've ever done, and they can't believe they haven't done it before, and they can't wait to do it again. So every mom should take on that journey at some point. And I would love for you to come along with me. Absolutely.
That sounds super interesting and amazing. And the way, like, you said that you didn't think about it, but the way your life destiny or your business found you, because as earlier you was mentioning about having yourself a low self-esteem, and how being a parent, it was reflecting on your children. So
Yes.
that's really super learning and super parenting tip to all of us, like how we have to be a good role model, or how we can build up in our kids, in our children, the confidence, the self-esteem, and empowering their own way of learning and finding their own way of success. But when we are talking about your business and all, I know it's so exciting, and I'm really happy, and I'm getting super excited to listen more and more stories about the women. Those have taken the solo travel and finding the being real who they are, and the journey. Tell us something interesting, or maybe you might be having a lot of stories, but tell us something which can inspire our audience and ourselves.
Yeah, oh, I do have lots of stories. I have been so lucky, like in last 3 years that I've been doing this, I have had encounters with thousands of women.
Yeah.
And I know each one of them are special, and that have touched me and helped me grow as well as I have helped them.
Mm-hmm.
The one that really pops, like, in my head and has been a very special one, was one of my very first customers, and she came to me. We first met because I host what you call it, like a travel club meetings, where women who are interested in traveling, they come to the meetings, and then I talk about what our next tour is, and so forth. So the idea of this is to actually educate women how to travel with me, so they actually get the confidence going. Because a lot of people say to me, oh, why when you say solo travel and then you say come with me, that's not solo, like that's not alone, right? And that's true, it is not alone, but a lot of people don't like to be totally alone because they're not comfortable. Like at the beginning, I wasn't comfortable either, but without thinking, I just went. And when I went, like I was in London for 10 days, I just had no choice. I was there, and that was it. Like now I have to make a decision whether I'm going to enjoy this trip and get out and do something, or I can just sit in the hotel for 10 days and go back home. So I decided to get out there and enjoy the trip, just do all the things that I wanted to do, see the sights and sit and watch people and all those things that I have never had time to do. And the biggest thing was to sleep. Like I had a very young baby when I first went, and sleeping was a luxury. It wasn't a necessity back then. And on this trip for 10 days, I could sleep. I went to bed without alarm. I woke up when I wake up, and I felt amazing. And I could have a bath without anybody knocking the door down. My younger daughter used to just go, are you done yet, Mom? Are you done yet? And so the 10 days was just beautiful in every sense, that I had taken that as a luxury. Like I can't have it, but everybody should have it. Like we should allow ourselves at least once a year, go somewhere different, go somewhere alone, without children, without husband, without friends, without anybody, just you, yourself, and I. So I loved that concept. And this beautiful woman that was one of my very first customers, she came along to me, and she was like, she had 5 children, and she was married for a long time, and she exactly, every mother's do the same thing, just give and give more. And then she said to me, she said, I want to go to India, but I don't think I can go alone, because one, I don't speak the language. 2, I'm really scared. I see so many things on the TV and radio, and Slumdog Millionaire didn't do very good thing for India, that's for sure. But hey, I was planning a tour to India, and I said to her, come along, and she did. And the idea of the tour is you are alone, even though you're with me, is that you do things that you like to do. So it's not scheduled that you have to stick to everything I say you have to do, because that is not fair, because I love doing things that is my thing, you know, like for example, I love doing cooking classes at different countries, and that is different for me because I love to learn how the culture works. So, and the cooking, the food is the best way to learn the culture. And I love to learn the language. In each country I go to, I try to learn the language. So I go to the local networking or meeting or something, so where you learn everything that you know, you say it either right or wrong, but you say it in their language, which is quite exciting. And some people like to sightsee, and some people like to shop, and some people, so you know, like go to musicals and go to movies and so forth. So like this group of girls, I took them to a Bollywood movie in India. They don't speak Hindi, but we watched a Bollywood movie without subtitles. There was no subtitles, and they literally loved the experience. It wasn't about judgment. It wasn't about what to expect and being let down. It was just having an open mind, embracing the experience, and just learning from it, how the world is such a big place, and there is things bigger than us. There is, you know, so much more to the world than us, than just the small part of the world that we live in. So yeah, so you know, we have had been so lucky. We have had so many beautiful different tours in Italy, in Spain, in Paris and London, and all around Australia, New Zealand, Egypt, and so forth and so forth. So there has been a lot of different tours, and you know, hopefully we will be able to travel again internationally soon, and then I will be doing a few more travels. And yeah, so it will be great to see you as well somewhere over there.
Definitely, I would love to see you sometime in person when
Yes,
you're having a
absolutely.
tour of this part of the world, and that would be fascinating to you know, for you as well.
Yeah.
I definitely believe that, because I every time learn so much when I take a step out from my home. But when you are sharing this story, this is really exciting, and I feel like definitely it is empowering, especially when you are saying, I love to give that sense to the, especially to the female and to the women, those you know, it is very obvious whether you talk about any culture, society, and environment. After a certain period of time, when you become a mother, you are always like give, 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 and you constantly on that mode. You're constantly on that mode, and you forget to live your own life. And it slowly, gradually, it doesn't mean that we are, as a giver, as a we are giving, but that impacts are the nature of giving as well. But bringing that
Yes.
movement and that bringing that spark again by having this solo travel can be helpful and healthy, and for self as well as, I believe, for family as well. So when you do
Yes.
all these kind of you know, traveling and trip of different places and tour and all, mm, how in general, like you mentioned about your interest, how you mentioned about your way of exploring different culture, but what way did you find any, you know, that kind of spark we are talking about in those female life, if they shared with you maybe?
Yeah, you know what? Um, a lot of mothers, a lot of females, that they have this mindset that if they do things for themselves, if they go away anywhere, that is being selfish. And you know, if they leave their children behind, that is selfish. If they leave their family behind, there's many excuses. And to be totally honest, I felt it that way as well. I thought about it that way as well at the beginning. But when I came back from my very first trip, and then I went again and again and again, about 54 countries after that, it went to a place where my daughters now are proud of me. So here's the thing, they now are independent girls
Yeah.
who do not need approval of other people to feel good about themselves, who
Yes.
don't like this is not a ego boost. This is
Mm-hmm.
not a like a famous and success and all that. This is about really believing who you are, really having the faith and the trust, like really learning how to have the faith and the trust. And when
Mm-hmm.
you people don't understand how much of a faith you have to have and trust
Mm-hmm.
in total strangers when you
Mm-hmm.
are traveling alone, because you are alone. You don't have
Yeah.
anybody that is
Yes.
going to look after you or have your back if something goes wrong. So the
Mm-hmm.
amount of faith that you really tap into, which has always been within you, but you've
Mm-hmm.
never used it because you've always surrounded with yourself with comfort zone, family, friends, loved ones, familiar places. So you
Yeah.
never tap into it. But when you go into a total new country, like my very first experience in London, I got on the subway, and in Australia, we don't even use train to travel. We drive everywhere. Like we hop in the car, luxury, straight in our from our house to wherever you want to go, and then you're there. And I thought, train, wow, I don't know what is north, what is south, what is east, what is west. I have no idea. Lucky I spoke the same language, so English, great, but still very daunting. So, to ask a total stranger, which train should I take? I have put so much faith in this person to give
Mm-hmm.
me advice that is going to take
Yeah.
me to the right place. If I
Yeah.
didn't put that faith in that person, I could end up
Mm-hmm.
anywhere, right? I
Right.
mean,
Right.
that person could have given me wrong information and I could have ended up anywhere. But this is the thing, we humans forget to keep faith and trust in others, because the way we are raised, we start to believe in technology more than humans. And that's the way, like, our parents didn't. They used to leave the doors open to the house, the neighbors will come in and ask for sugar and tea and whatever. Now you have to make appointments to go to somebody's house for just even a cup of tea. So
Yeah.
the world is changing so much, and we are missing this. We're missing the faith in people. We're missing the trust in people. We're
Yeah.
missing the ability to connect, real connection. And
Yeah.
this is what my whole thing is all about, is when you are solo traveling, you're making real connection with yourself. And when you're
Mm-hmm.
making real connection with yourself, then you're learning how to make real connection with other people. So when
Yeah.
I take these groups of women who go out there and they go, and the feedback I get from them, it's like, oh my God, I did this and I can't believe I did it. Like, one lady, she wanted to go shopping, and
Yeah.
from shopping in Australia to shopping in a bazaar in India, it is a total different experience. She doesn't
Yeah.
speak Hindi. She doesn't know how to get back to the hotel. So I walked her there. I said to her, this is your experience. You got to go through this, and I will meet you here at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And she did it. She went and bought by pointing, smiling, trying things, just by trusting people that they will do the right thing. And
Mm-hmm.
she came back with a couple of saris and beautiful gifts for her children. And she said, I did it. I did it. Look, I did it. I didn't eat. Like, she was so excited, like a little
Wow.
child who,
Yeah.
walked
Yeah.
first time, or a little
Yeah.
child who wore high heels first time, or all those beautiful celebration of, oh my God, I can do this. You don't
Yeah.
have to have approval of other people or support of other people, just by trusting and just by having that faith that it
Yeah.
the universe has your back. You don't have to always be in a comfort zone. You don't always have to
Yes.
not everybody is bad people out there. Like, there are some which I train people how to look out for and how not to attract them in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But there will be times when things will go wrong, and then there is lots of different ways to deal with it instead of freaking out. Like, it can go wrong in your own house, in your own country, in your own town. So
Yeah. Yeah.
these beautiful things that I now learned from my own mistakes and own experiences, and now I teach. I just love
Mm-hmm.
it. I just love seeing these women come back to me and say, Oh my God, I love doing this. And one of these ladies that I met, we were sitting in Paris and having coffee at Starbucks. Like I was just sitting there, and this lady walked up, and she had nowhere to sit, and so she sat next to me. And we were just like sipping coffee and staring, like, looked at each other for a few times, and then we just started to talk. And she goes, "Where are you from? Where are you from?" And then she invited me to this beautiful, very French style celebration where the food, all French food, hardly anybody speak English, everybody like very country style French. Yeah. And I went like, the experience was priceless, because I would have never had that by just doing the touristy things. As you don't, you know what it's like when you go from India to US or US to India. If you stay in the touristy places, you're not going to get the experience of the local local cuisine, local language, local culture, and I said to people, dress like locals. Why are you dressed in jeans and shirts and dress like locals? Like, I love dressing like locals. Doesn't matter where you are, feels more like part of them, like an experience. That's what you're there for. Yeah.
Exactly. And the way you explain and the way you said that how we can put our faith, how we can understand and go forward, and again build that trust which we all are some sort of way missing or losing. That's wonderful. That's really incredible way to learn by even having this solo travel concept in their mind and building up their confidence, trust. This is super amazing learning. I really love it.
Yes.
Yogita, definitely, it's super. But
thank you.
When we are talking about all this, how you see your future plans of your work?
Yes, it is actually a good question, because, at the moment with the pandemic and travel is not happening. So at the moment, like 2020 and 2021, I'm doing a lot more of like one-to-one coaching. So I'm working with quite a lot of women where, I teach them all the insights of how to have that faith in them, how to connect within, and how to attract the right people in your world, and how to know what your truth is, how to learn to trust people, and how to learn to have faith in people. And so I call it personal development, but really is like quite a lot of different layers. So it's like self-discovery. We do quite a lot of work on yourself, who you are, why are you that way, what makes you you, and then self-acceptance, because if you don't really know who you are, you won't be able to accept who you are. And then self-love, which is this another level of it. So once you know who you are, you accept who you are, then only you will be able to love who you are. So there's lots of depth in that. And I do love and miss the travel part at the moment, but I am enjoying teaching women still this part of their self-development, and I'm just hoping that we are able to travel in 2022, which will be amazing. And get going and get some more tours out and see more of the world. So and it's just go on, sorry.
No, I was just saying that's a beautiful way that like how you bring especially same way those learning, inspiring way of teaching others, creating those more confidence, leadership, coaching, and other way rather than traveling. And it's right way, right approach, and right time, I can say. But definitely, I the way you said that you love and you are missing this travel part. I think the whole world is missing this travel part.
Exactly. Yeah. I think once we are allowed to travel, a lot more people will be traveling without this excuse that I don't have money, I don't have time, or I will travel when I get older. I think a lot of people have started to now kind of embrace the fact you have to do it now, because there is no guarantee what will happen next. And this pandemic has taught us a lot of things that, you know, one of them is don't take nothing for granted. It is not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. Yes.
Yeah. So when you're talking about it, let me ask you, what do you think having the platform like Women Dialogue is so much needed?
Look, you know, conversation, voicing your opinion, just be able to speak your truth. Don't, you know, don't think that anybody is going to judge you. And to be totally honest, there will be few people who will judge you. There will be few people who will have nasty things to say and who will always be critical and always have negative feedback, so to speak. But they are not needed. You don't need to worry about them. Think about the ones that you are going to inspire. Think about the ones that you are going to help, because you have been brave enough to share your story. Because when it really comes down to it, it's that your voice, your story is yours only. Nobody has had exactly the same experience. So it doesn't matter if somebody else is teaching self-love. They're not coming from the same place as you. Doesn't, like, there are many people teaching self-love. There are many people teaching solo travel. There are many people teaching, you know, lots of same things. Like, you know, for example, McDonald's, right? McDonald's, the burger, it's worldwide. There's so many burger places, but still McDonald's stands strong year after year after year. The food is not that great, but they stand. Why? Because they have that branding where they have backed themselves up year after year after year by believing in what they do, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it comes down to. Women's Dialogue is a beautiful platform that is giving each one of you women out there a chance and opportunity to learn from it, help each other, share your voice, share your story, and just be part of it. Because one of the things we humans really want and need and desire is to feel like you are part of something, like belong to something. And this is a great platform. Why not, you know, embrace this platform and use it to help yourself and help your children and help people around you, help people that you work with, help people that in your family, friends, and so forth. Because you know what? We can only help if you allow it to happen. We can't help if you don't want help. So I normally say to people who come to me, especially women that are so busy, and I understand that they're very busy. They just sit down and they go, can you just give me like, you know, like quick tips on how to fix this problem? And that's like, you know, everything takes time, patience, and time, and allow more time, because you need to make yourself the priority. And if you make yourself the priority, then everything in your life, like, you know, every other responsibility that you have as mom, as wife, as business owner, or daughter, or friend, or, you know, or just a working person, doesn't matter what your responsibility is, you're going to do it really well. So
so true.
Absolutely, yeah.
And when we are talking about, like, it is really so strong message, and I'm really thankful. I'm so grateful that you have those feelings associated with Women Dialogue. And thanks once again, thanks a lot. But what one message would you like to give to our viewers and audience, like by your experiences, by your challenges? Like you explained a lot about your early childhood, then your business, and then your own fear, how you overcome. If we sum up in that, I know it is hard and it's not possible. But
it is hard, yes, because there is so many years of
but
you know, lessons and blessings. But if I can leave you with one message, just one message for the sake of this this interview, that will be just be your true self. Don't wear mask. Don't worry about whether you fit in or you don't fit in. A lot of times people don't fit in because they are not meant to fit in. They are born to stand alone, and they're born to stand proud. And if you're not fitting in, like I didn't fit in for a very long time, you just keep pushing through, because eventually you will find your tribe. Eventually you will get to the place where it will be home for you. And yeah, it's just be your true self. Don't change yourself for anybody. Don't try to please anybody, because there are 1,000,001 people out there who are pretending to be someone else, pleasing people nonstop, trying to fit in, trying to do everything and anything. So if you're all busy being someone else, who's gonna be you? You're gonna do injustice to yourself. So just be yourself and stay proud and stay strong, and eventually you will find your tribe. Like I now can say, after many years of lots of struggles, as a dyslexic woman, and a woman that is not white in a Western world, and a woman that has refused to fit in, that now I'm eventually and finally home. I have got my tribe. I have got beautiful women that just love what I do and constantly inspire me with their own stories and help me, support me. And I do the same in return. So yeah.
Really inspiring. And I can say the way you said in one message, it is hard, but I love the way you explain, don't wear the mask. It is really strong, because we need to learn to do that, and it needs courage, it needs power, it need all the way being your authentic yourself. And once again, thank you. Thanks a lot, Yogita. It was such a great pleasure to be with you. Thank you. Can you hear us? Okay, and I think we are having little trouble with Yogita connection. So thanks to all viewers. If you would like to hear more women voice and part of Women Dialogues, please connect with us. Please share, subscribe, like, and thank you once again. And see you in the next episode. And don't forget to check the Yogita's work and her links in the description below as well. See you in next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.